Thanks, Nellie. It is a bit awkward sitting there, just having your CV read out. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be here today. I'd also like to express my thanks to IPA and to the Office for Prevention and Women's Equality at DHHS, our collaborators on the forum today. I too would also just like to acknowledge Dr Marion Frere, Commissioner Kristen Hilton, Dr Michael Flood, who you'll be hearing from after morning tea, as well as Luke Cornelius from Victoria Police. And I will just do a shout out to Nellie now. Nellie's, you know, she's a fabulous MC, but also, as you can hear, she's someone that is actually on the radio having those direct conversations with people in a very, very public way. So can you please all just give a big shout out to Nellie? I feel like I got her back then, you see, so that was pretty good. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to welcome so many policymakers from the broad cross-section of state government departments. And your presence here today really provides, I think, a vivid illustration of what a true whole-of-government approach actually looks like and what it means when we're talking about this topic. But also, it's not just government people here today. I would like to welcome representatives from the women's and community health, corporate sector, academia and education, the disability sector, youth, sport, local government, international aid and the prevention of violence against women sector. And that's just a few of the groups that are here today. That's pretty outstanding. And if I may, I'd like for us all to just take a moment to reflect on exactly what that means. So when we can stand, or in this instance we're sitting, in a room of over 200 people, wanting to examine how we deal with resistance to gender equality. And I think it's worth noting that the momentum and breadth of commitment that this represents. And I know that it's a tough issue to deal with, and let me just say that actually this is a great problem to have, that it is a tough issue to deal with. Because I think for VicHealth, with over 30 years of experience in tackling those wickedly entrenched problems impacting on Victorian social, physical and mental well-being, we know that when resistance emerges, it's a sign that the rubber has really begun to hit the road. So that's good. We should be almost celebrating that part, I think. So let's just take a little moment to contemplate and, as I said, celebrate that fact. Your work and that of all of those sitting around you today is indeed having an impact on our culture. And that's a very hard thing to achieve. You are part of a groundswell of change that, with continued determination and focus, will one day lead to the elimination of all those subtle and those not so subtle forms of discrimination that women face and that are the drivers of violence against women. Today is a wonderful reminder that together, in our bid to even out the playing field for women, we have gained enough traction that we are now experiencing and shaking what was once, and not so long ago, I might add, considered to be the unmovable set of systems, attitudes and behaviours that allow gender inequality to manifest, seemingly unquestioned. We've seen clearly over the last year the incredible power of movements like the Me Too and Time's Up Twitter campaigns, how millions of women's stories being shared on social media have assisted the dramatic crumbling of what were once considered to be some of the most entrenched and untouchable power structures worldwide. Those who have spoken out publicly have done so, and they've done it often at great personal risk and with incredible courage. And as we've all seen played out through the media, the types of resistance and backlash that are part and parcel of such an effective campaign. And still, the momentum and unstoppable wheels of change roll on. It seems we've now reached a crucial tipping point where it is no longer possible to simply brush aside discrimination. There are now much stronger expectations for accountability, for it to be addressed in both the public and also the private spheres. And this is a great reminder for us that our strength lies in partnership and coordination, long-term commitment and using the irrefutable evidence based to speak our truth, to share our knowledge, our tools, to support those new to the work and to hold steady when the course seems most difficult. Because what is abundantly clear is the dramatic events of the past year have their roots deep in the long-term work of many of the partners in the room this morning. And it will take the continued commitment of these and the growing numbers of new partners that we know we need around the table to ensure our vision for gender equality in the state is achieved. As many of you may have attended the forums that Nellie spoke about last year, where our focus was on introducing and unpacking gender equality as a driver of violence against women. They were highly successful in building readiness for taking action on the Victorian Royal Commission to Family Violence recommendations and the resulting Victorian Primary Prevention Strategy Free from Violence. And you'll hear more about that strategy and the accompanying first action plan from Marion in our next keynote address. So the keynote speakers and panel members you hear from today will provide you with tools and resources to continue to support implementation of Free from Violence and the state's first gender equality strategy, Safe and Strong. More specifically, today's speakers are going to provide you with some real practical strategies and examples that you can take back to your organisations to plan for and manage potential resistance that you may experience in your own gender equality and primary prevention initiatives. So from the skilled and consistent monitoring, advocacy and training provided by the Victorian Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission, to the role of academics such as Dr Michael Flood in building the evidence and translating that for the rest of us that we can use in our advocacy work. Our keynotes are going to be followed by a panel discussion with Victoria Police, Trades Hall and Our Watch, giving us insights into how this massive effort translates into work on the ground. And as we've had cause to reflect earlier this month on International Women's Day, we can see that this work has been embarked on, standing on the shoulders of so many feminists of the second wave, informed and inspired by the suffragettes who came before them in those first marches in the early 1900s. And while we have gained so much ground in recent times, with the World Economic Forum's 2017 Global Gender Gap Report telling us that gender parity is still over 200 years away, it is timely for us to reflect on some very sobering facts about why we need to keep investing time and energy into creating equality for women. For VicHealth, gender equality is a core part of our work because we know it is linked to a number of positive mental and physical health outcomes for women and girls. We also know that gender inequality, as the underlying driver of violence against women, remains the leading cause of death and disability amongst Victorian women, and we cannot afford to wait another 200 years before it's eliminated. It is clear that gender equality will have enormous benefits for Victorian women and girls. Investments made now in Victoria will also help shift social norms and structures that limit men's and boys' behaviour and roles, boost the economy by closing the gap between women's and men's employment rates. And so as a part of this movement for change, I'd just like to give you a little brief snapshot of some of VicHealth's work in this space. We were established in 1987 as the world's first health promotion foundation, and we work with partners to discover, implement and share solutions to the health problems facing Victorians. Guided by our action agenda for health promotion, we're working towards our goal of 1 million more Victorians with better health and wellbeing. And we aim to achieve that through healthy eating, physical activity and mental wellbeing, and by reducing the harms from tobacco use and alcohol consumption. And our action agenda, as you can see on the screen there, has underlying drivers of health that often intersect, and we've called them out as 3 key areas for action. And this focus has led us to develop our own gender equality, health and wellbeing strategy. It's informing a great array of work across all areas of VicHealth, from research to innovation through to our major campaigns and program delivery. And as health promotion practitioners, we know that the impacts of gender inequality have very deep and profound effects on all of our health and wellbeing as a society. We also know that by tackling gender inequality for women, there will be great gains for men in terms of their quality of life and their choices. By challenging those narrow traditional gender roles for men, we know that they have access to richer, more satisfying relationships as parents, partners and workers, as well as how they care for their own health and wellbeing. So what does that look like on the ground at VicHealth? Our latest campaign, This Girl Can Victoria, goes live on Sunday night. So watch out for the roadblock television advertising that you'll see on Sunday night, and the campaign website goes live on Monday. This campaign is all about empowering women to become more physically active regardless of their ability or their body shape. And we've worked with everyday Victorian women to develop the campaign, and their stories are incredibly powerful, and they're a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play in ensuring that women feel comfortable and empowered to be active, particularly in public spaces. The campaign has been developed in collaboration with Sport England, and after their highly successful This Girl Can campaign across the UK, which saw 2.8 million women in the UK become more active. We've also been busily resourcing and supporting clubs and sporting organisations and associations to be more inclusive of women and girls. Our Leading Thinker initiative is trialling new behavioural insights approaches to creating more gender equitable workplace practices. And we're investing and investigating how gender stereotypes impact masculine drinking cultures. And we've invested in long-term learnings about what works to make our schools, workplaces, sports, arts, media and government safer and more respectful places. And then developed resources and shared our findings as widely as possible. And it's also why we're supporting forums like today. I'm incredibly proud of the work that the team do at VicHealth. They are a fantastic group of people to work with, and also with so many of the partners that are here in the room today. All of us have been working to advance gender equality for women and girls in Victoria, and that spirit of continued collaboration, I'm really pleased to be able to share with you today the resource that Nellie has talked about, which you at the coalface of this work have been asking for quite a period of time now. So this new resource, Encountering Resistance, will help you navigate the challenges of working with resistance and backlash to gender equality. It's based on research that we commissioned, and Dr. Michael Flood is going to speak in much more depth this morning about the current evidence base and walk us through the resource. So I'd like to take a moment to officially send this out into the world. So we'll just let that moment go out into the world now. Encourage you all to read it, reflect upon it, share the link to the resource which is on our website, and share it with your colleagues. I haven't got to Marion yet. I just wanted to thank you all for being here today. I know that you have incredibly busy jobs and incredibly busy lives, but the fact that you're taking time out to be here today shows just, as I said at the beginning, what incredible momentum for change that we have in Victoria. We wish you all the best as you use the guide, and we want to be able to support your efforts in tackling resistance in this more, sophisticated era that we're seeing across the globe as we forge towards gender equality. So enjoy the resource and have a great day. Thank you.